All right. Okay, so what's going on, man? What's your name?
Shakavine.
All right, my name is Chris, and great to talk to you. You were just telling me about farming, so I want to learn all about farming, kind of what's going on this year. So you just kind of run me through it.
Yeah, so we were talking about like the price inflations that we're about to see within food prices. And this is mainly going to stem from what's happened over the last 3 or 4 weeks. Of course, when you're looking at your food costs or when you're looking at food in general, you have to keep in mind one of the biggest factors is going to be the weather.
Mm.
And when we look at the areas in which the United States has to grow its food, mainly being the Central Plains and the West Coast, both of those have been impacted by various amounts of different types of weather, be it rain, be it ice, snow, wind. All of those things combined over the last 3 weeks has put a major dent in what's happening with farmers and getting their plants in the field. There are plants that you can grow in the wintertime. These are mainly going to be leafy greens. You can grow some wheat, but those all have a set level in which they're able to withstand. Being that these are winter plants, they're adapted to the North American winter. But going through a situation in which we just had, where we're seeing negative degrees, -22, -50, then those are the type of situations in which no life can really grow and prosper. So in the next 60 to about 77 days here, we're going to start to see the impact of what's happened with these storms as these plants that were due to come up come in the next 60 to 90 days. We're going to see a reduction. Of course, everything was not a total loss, but it's all about, okay, how much of a total loss that we have. I'm pretty sure farmers were able to do various different techniques in order to save some of their crop. But of course, you're going to have those farmers that were able to do something, those farmers that were able to do nothing. And when you combine all of that together and you come out with the eventual yield, you'll see that yield is going to be less than optimal. Especially heading here into the summer. So when we talk about how that affects the prices of food, of course, when you have less yield, when you have less amount of things, those prices tend to go up. So it's going to be dicey come this year, going into next year. It's all about just right now trying to save as much as you can, and really the best way to do that is to get your hands dirty. Grab a I think you can get a 20 or 30 gallon bin if you live in an apartment or somewhere where you don't have access to an acre or less than an acre to plant. Just go buy you a bin from Home Depot. You can fill it up with any type of substrate that you want. And the easiest, probably most nutritious thing that you can grow in a small space with that 52-gallon bucket are going to be something like potatoes. It's going to start to get warm pretty soon, so you're going to be able to grow your greens and things like that. But yeah, if you're looking to save you some money, definitely start with your food costs. That's going to be the easiest thing that you can personally do to save yourself some money here.
It's all very interesting. So what types of food do you think would be impacted the most? And when you're talking about the kind of like the wheat harvest, would that then kind of impact like meat prices, or is it really just kind of is it kind of specific to some kind of food group?
It's all around. It's just depending on like what exactly are you looking at. When you're trying to grow and process beef, a lot of that beef is fed off of different things like your corn, like your wheat, like your other seeds. So when you start to see a drop in the yield in one of those areas, then of course that's going to factor over into the cost of your meat products. One other thing to really keep in mind is like with the corn. The corn we use for a lot of sugar, a lot of biodiesel, a lot of other things than just personal consumption. So when we look into how the effect of not only having less yield, but also still needing to drive those inputs, every little change that's occurring in the food system has some knock-on effect to beef prices or gas prices or plastic prices or this price or that price. You have to understand that this is dealing with the base commodity goods. Without these goods, you have nothing in the society to, you don't have any other more advanced technical products such as like clothing or such as plastics, anything like that.
Gotcha. And so where, like, what kind of like price impact, are there any estimates that you've seen? Like, are there any kind of early reports or kind of farmers or kind of industry experts that you've been talking to, or what should people kind of come to expect if you have any idea? I don't have very many contacts in the physical farming space. I've met a couple of farmers. I'm actually going to go out to a wheat farm in Colorado in the next couple of days. I'm going to work probably 30, 40 days out there. But most of my information comes from farm AG journals. Number one, paying attention to not only what the farmers are saying, because they have direct contact with the fields, but also looking at what CEOs are saying. Right now, a couple of important CEOs for me to look at are going to be the CEOs of General Mills, which is the cereal, Kraft Heinz, which is your sauces, and then you have Tyson meat for your meats, obviously. The thing that makes it easier with the American food system, I'm not sure if you guys have the exact same setup for your food system, but we really only have maybe 4 or 5 major food processors or food companies here in the Americas. So it kind of makes the aggregation of the information a little bit easier, because hey, this person controls like 70% of the market, or this person has a $500 billion market cap. It kind of puts me in that perspective of, okay, I need to pay attention to this person a little bit more than that person, just because overall it's like generally speaking, if you have a company that's worth $300 billion and they're facing issues, this is going to be a company that has a lot of market control. Well, you know that if they're going to be facing issues, then you're going to have those smaller individual bodies face issues as well. So you can kind of see where the wave of the price increases actually start. And actually, there was a very, very good paper put out today, I believe, by the University of Massachusetts, I believe. Let me see. UMass Amherst Economics. They just released a paper, Inflation in the Times of Overlapping Emergencies, Systemically Significant Prices, prices from an input-output perspective. So what they did here was they went in and they found out, okay, what industries, what sectors in the economy are most
most responsible for the volatility of inflation. And from going through the different areas, I think kind of the main three were energy, food, and then you had purchasing managers indexes. Those are kind of the three big ones that they highlighted to say that the price of the inflation, or the percentage of the inflation, depends upon the input goods that you receive for that. Kind of but with that, we went through a bunch of different risks to the sectors that could cause it to inflate, what could cause it to deflate, and going through all of that. They're looking at very recent events within that spectrum. So the cards that are on the table were things like, okay, what impact on the global economy does Ukraine have to the rest of the world's wheat production? We know that a lot of wheat comes out of that area. So with that area out of them being taken out, not able to produce anything, we're going to see a massive rise in wheat prices because that's a major player in the game. Okay, then you have what's happening on the gas front. We're seeing a reduction in gas from Russia because of different sanctions and whatnot. So that's going to be another major player that's going to be out of the game. With all these major players getting out of the game, it's putting the individual into a mode in which, okay, you develop means and ways of no longer being as dependent on these goods, or you figure out a way to increase your income, your monthly income, substantially. Those are kind of the only two modes, or the only two options that we have at this point. Everything else is just kind of, okay, it's there. We know that we need to pay attention to it, but at the same time, if your food is not where it needs to be yet, then you're looking at a limited amount of time in which you have to experience this place. Mm-hmm. So kind of the best thing to do right now at this point is to really just figure out where our strengths and weaknesses lies as individuals, and attempt to come together as a physical community, as a online community, and band together to find out where can we work synergistically at in order to improve the situations of the individuals that are in participation fast, quickly, and permanently.
Gotcha. I totally agree. And so are there ways, so it sounds like we're anticipating lower yields because of how we've kind of had this like cold streak across the kind of the Midwest. And with that, that's where kind of a lot of farming occurs. And so with that, if there's lower yields, then we expect food inflation to go up a lot, because obviously there's less goods, right, to kind of go around. So people have to pay more money. What would we just kind of go to the grocery store to kind of like, so like for instance, like we could go to the grocery store and like buy a potato right now, or buy some corn or something, and you look at the price today, and then in like in 60 to 77 days, you're saying, then we look at the prices again and say, okay, that was the impact of that kind of cold front. How could we measure that?
So that has a lot of variability. To excise that variability, just pay attention to what's happening with the major businesses. Mm-hmm. They're ultimately going to be in control of the prices. Of course, with businesses, they run on 4 quarters. Each one of those quarters, they're looking to maximize their earning potential. So each quarter, they're going to be looking to raise prices of goods. That's going to be one of the only times in which you have to actually visualize the prices moving up because of a certain thing. They generally try to keep price inflation down by cutting down on the volume of goods that you receive. Whereas when they try to increase the prices, that's kind of like their last defense in which they have. So when we start to see, it's the new year, we're going to be starting to see those price inflations hit. I believe New York is already starting to see them, where they're paying $9 for a dozen of eggs.
Mm.
They're paying almost $8 to $10 for a family size cereal. They are paying almost $16 to $20 for a 5-pound pack of turkey.
Mm. Gotcha.
So yeah, all of these would be
huge price increases.
very much so. They're looking at anywhere from 28 to about 30%, and that's just going off of the first quarter.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I want to kind of keep this recording kind of bite size. But I think maybe we can check back on this topic in kind of like either a month or in the 60-day window, and kind of see maybe look at some of these annual reports by Tyson Foods, General Mills, Heinz, and kind of see how it's playing out, because I think it's a topic that a lot of people are interested in.
Oh, most definitely. We'll definitely go ahead and keep up with the prices on that. I would say, though, it would be better to look at it at the end of the quarter. That way you can that's where their earnings start and end.
Yes.
So we'll be able to see, okay, how much have they risen prices, and what do they believe is in store for Q2.
Amazing. Okay, so I will definitely check back on that. I guess end of the quarter is end of March, so that's they put out the quarter report shortly after that. So we can kind of catch up and make another video maybe.
No problem. Let's see when the exact end date is. So Q2 starts in second quarter. Second quarter starts April 1st. So yeah, we can come back on April 1st and just look at what's happened here. It's going to be very interesting to see how this quarter pans out.
Amazing, man. It was great talking. I'm going to end the recording, and then we can kind of catch up.